Hi, and welcome to part three of From Local Azure Functions to Container Apps. In this video, we're going to be creating the Docker container and we're going to test it in our PC. So let's get started. First thing that you want to do is when you run function init docker flag, uh, the core tools is going to give you all the files you need to build a container. The only thing you have to do is add your libraries that you're working with in the requirements .txt, and let's go ahead and build the container now. So you're familiar with Docker build. All I'm doing here is tagging it right from the start so that I don't just get the Docker image number. I want to version it just to keep track of my updates. Uh, so yeah, let's build it here. I just have one library that I'm working with for Google API, so this should be fairly quick. There we go. The container is built. I can see the image and I can see the tag name. So let's go ahead and test it. Uh, so we do that by doing Docker run, and I'm going to use port 8081 on the host. That is going to redirect to port 80 inside the container. So later on we could do different redirection, but I'm also going to use the IT flag so that it's interactive and I can keep track of the logs that are happening in there. So let's run that. I don't see any issues. The function is coming up. I don't see any problems. I see my endpoint as well. So things are looking good. So now let's yeah, I was testing before in 771, so let's change it to 8081. Let's see if it's up. So it shows up. The function inside of the container is up. So now let's see. Let's test the endpoint. Let's change this to 8081, and let's try the same query that we did before. But as you can see now, we're getting unauthorized error because by default, functions are going to require a function key or some type of authentication. You could always use anonymous, but we want to secure it. So we do that by adding a host secrets file where we can set different keys. We can set our master key, we can set our function key. So now we have to pass it in our Docker build. We have to create a directory for the secrets. We have to set the variable so it can point there, and uh, and then add the file to the directory so that the function can read it. Again, we set the value to the function key, and that is what we're going to use later on to access it. So let's rebuild this container, and cool, looks like it's up. So now the last thing that we have to do is go back to our Thunder client here, and we're going to pass the function key in our API client. So again, it's up. I can check that there, and let me go back there real quick so we can see it. So yeah, as part of the URL, I'm going to pass the function key so that it could be authenticated. And let's change this to the latest book that I'm reading, which is Dune Heretics. So in here, let's see, boom. Now we have the result that we got in the first function when we did it locally. So this means that now our function is packaged inside of a Docker container. So stay tuned because in our next video, what we're going to be doing is pushing that container up to our container registry and bringing it down to our local Kubernetes cluster. The video after that will send it up to Azure Container Apps. And the last video is going to wrap up by showing you how we get uh, this information inside of our Django app. All right. So thank you for sticking around. I'll see you in the next one. And please let me know if you have any questions.